Welcome to Talking Giants player profiles and projections. Well, today we have cornerback Adoreé Jackson, the other big free agency signing of the Giants for 2021. He's 5'11", 185 pounds, 25 years old, former first round pick, very young. Came here on a 3-year, $39 million deal. It seems like it with the guaranteed money. It's essentially a 2-year deal. Justin, this was a big get for the Giants, and it wasn't expected. The Titans weren't expected to let go of Adoreé Jackson. But I think the best way to describe like how this improves our defense is, one, our cornerback 2 position has been very weak, for a long time. But Adoreé as a cornerback 1 being asked to play cornerback 2 with the New York Giants, and I am so excited to see how that works because I can't remember having that good of corner play, even though we've had it in 2016.
Yeah. Adoreé with the accent over the E. Can't forget that accent over the E, Bobby Skinner. Has a really good smile, but I was told that he has veneers, so it's not real. And I learned what veneers
You're not
were.
real.
Well, I'm not real. I am pretty fake. I have a microphone on now, so I'm kind of fake. Yeah. Adoreé Jackson. I've had the take and hot take, maybe not a hot take, but I genuinely do believe this, that the impact of the Adoreé Jackson signing in terms of transforming a unit and a side of the football from a good unit to a great unit, I think that could be more than Kenny Golladay. And ironically, we're doing Kenny Golladay and Adoreé Jackson on the same day. So the impact of Adoreé Jackson being a cornerback 1, if he can, being a cornerback 1 playing cornerback 2, that can transcend this Giants defense into an elite territory in the National Football League. And that has me tremendously, tremendously excited about this group. If we did not make that Adoreé Jackson signing, I am talking about and I am worried about the Giants defense regressing this year because teams have 16 games of Patrick Graham running cover 3 and they can dissect that. But now Patrick Graham can kind of transform this defense even more with more man in zone, mixing the two, and Adoreé Jackson allows him to do that.
Oh yeah, this is the difference of, like you said, talking about hey, I don't know if we can expect the defense to do the exact same thing and have the same red zone stops. And now because of Adoreé, it's no, now we get better. Get better because you can do more things. You were limited last year and you did awesome stuff, Patrick Graham, but now you got some more personnel to work with where you don't have to, whip up the master game plan every single week. So yeah, I mean, he makes me want this or expect this defense to be better than it was in 2020. Some advanced stats on Adoreé, and I want people to remember he was the cornerback 1 in Tennessee. In 2020, he only played 3 games, had a knee sprain. So 13 to 16, 152 yards. Like I said, only played 3 games. In 2019, where he played 11 games, so a good enough sample size. Played in the playoffs that year and played well in those playoffs. 36 for 54, the opposing QB stats were, so 66%, 395 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. And then in 2018, when he played a full slate, 56% completion percentage against, 831 yards, which is, not the best number, but you got to remember he was playing cornerback 1. Gave up 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So when we say he's a cornerback 1, he's not the best cornerback 1 in the league, but him playing cornerback 2 is he is very overqualified for that position.
Yeah. And I'll let you kind of rock and roll with this because he did play Tyreek Hill. 1 game, I believe he played against Tyreek Hill, and you talked about that in your film breakdown. Talked about it with Kenny Golladay. This is a league of producing explosive plays on the offense side of the ball, defense side of the ball. It's a league of preventing explosive plays. And Giants defense was 3rd best in the National Football League doing that for their pass defense. And the expectation should be is that they're around that same mark again this year with better cornerback play. And what the Giants did last year, Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong. I was listening to a podcast recently that kind of broke it down for me and explained it pretty well, where we were shadowing in terms of zone and, putting men in zone towards the side of our cornerback 2. Whereas James Bradbury, we can kind of leave him alone on that island. It's not like we're just playing zone and, we're covering everything equally. But I can imagine most of the time, because of the lackluster cornerback 2 play, we were leaning guys towards that side of the field and helping out Isaac Yiadom, helping out Ryan Lewis, et cetera, where this year there may not be a need to to do that. And that, again, it is an advantage that Patrick Graham has scheme wise, where we don't have to always be putting guys to one side of the field, and James Bradbury can just do what he has to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And I do still think we'll see some of that just because James Bradbury is so good. And he seems to be having a really good camp as well. But it's like it just makes you more versatile to where you can, you can trust Adoreé over there. You can play man coverage and blitz more, which Patrick Graham likes to blitz. He tried to do some, man coverage blitzes on third down to start the season. Quickly realized like I just can't do that with this personnel. I'm getting killed. We're giving up points because of this. So he stopped doing it, which is a sign of a good coach. But Adoreé allows you to do that, which leads to more turnovers. It leads to you being on the field less time. And just, it just leads to a better overall defense where you can rely on your players more than your scheme a little bit.
Yeah. How do you do against Tyreek Hill?
That was the game where it really got me excited. Is he just has speed. Like he has speed. So there's times like there was one time Tyreek Hill like beat him off on the release, and like Adoreé stumbled a little bit, stood with him step for step. Like he can stay with Tyreek Hill step for step. Not a lot of corners in the NFL can do that. And he may not be the most technical corner in the world, but his speed allows him to make up for when he does make a mistake, which is just beautiful. And that leads to interceptions too, because you beat a wide receiver, a corner off the line. The QB's eyeing you down. They throw it to you, but Adoreé's got the speed to break up those plays. Maybe he's only got a couple interceptions in his career, but still, like turn those into turnovers or big third down stops.
Something that Kenny Galladay said recently in terms of competing with James Bradbury and Adoreé Jackson says that they're kind of two different corners. So that's why it's beneficial to go up against both of them. You said James Bradbury is having a really good camp. I think Adoreé Jackson's also having a really, really good camp. There's some, and again, we're kind of clip watching here. Some clips of Kenny Galladay had a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Adoreé Jackson rips it out of his breadbasket, and it forces an incompletion. So it seems like Adoreé Jackson's really adjusting well too. He says the knee feels good, which is really, really awesome. But how are James Bradbury and Adoreé Jackson different corners when Kenny Galladay says that? Does it come down to their speed because Adoreé Jackson has that that 4.42 speed that he ran during the combine?
That, yeah, I mean, and some of the other receivers even said in the pressers like, hey, yeah, Adoreé's a little more speed, Bradbury's a little more size, but Bradbury's a little more technical. Where again, like I said, did Tyreek Hill beat Adoreé Jackson off the line a few times? Yeah, but Adoreé just kept up with him and recovered. And that's versus Tyreek Hill. So versus other receivers, like he's going to be able to keep up with that. Where it's like you may beat me off the release, but you're not going to get past me. Where Bradbury's kind of the opposite, where he's like, you're not going to beat me off the release. You may be faster than me, but you're not going to beat me off the release. I'm going to know where you're going. I'm going to beat you to that spot. And if I got to bail, I'll bail. Like I'm kind of two steps ahead of you. Where Adoreé is more of kind of like read and react, where Bradbury is setting wide receivers up. So I mean, Bradbury is a clearly superior corner too. So I don't want this to come off as like, Adoreé slander, because Bradbury is a very superior corner. Where we said at the beginning, Adoreé is not the best cornerback one in the NFL. If he was playing cornerback one, he might be a guy, that you weren't worried about. Where Bradbury is, where it's like he can shut down your opposing's best receiver. Adoreé is probably not going to do that. But as the cornerback two spot, he's just so overqualified for that, and that's why we have expectations for this season for the defense to get so much better, is because like we have a way overqualified cornerback too. We've got the Blake Martinez, we got that D line up front, where it's like really the only thing we got arguably the best safety group in the league, and it's basically like, okay, the edge room isn't great. Like that's basically the only thing about the defense that's not like stellar.
Yep. The Patriots way of the edge room. That's kind of like what we're doing. So, and we're in the Patriots way of the secondary. It's stacking up back there. That's where you put your resources. That's where you spend your money. And I'm also glad that the Giants finally realized that we shouldn't be drafting cornerbacks in the first 2 rounds or really in the first round anymore. Kind of glad we realized that. And I had the take. I think this was last offseason, Bobby.
Might be your best take of all time.
Let's spend 40% of our cap space on corners. Well, I think we're doing it, and it's kind of working out well. So let's rock and roll Adoreé Jackson, accent over the E.
Yeah, and now we got a little bit of cornerback depth now. You got Aaron Robinson, who hasn't been practicing. Like Isaac Yadom like did a decent job for what he was asked, and 2020.
We have
Like
so much
he
cornerback
broke up
depth.
some passes and stuff, and now he is like the fifth cornerback on the roster.
Yeah, we have so much cornerback depth. I can't even name you the cornerback depth past Isaac Yadam. And Sam Beal doesn't count, in my opinion, because he's not going to make the team. So I can't, maybe he does, because if we're not expecting him to be cornerback 3 or 4, maybe Sam Beal does make the team and he never sees the field. He probably will, because that's how the NFL works.
Sam Beal, big Sam Beal pod. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, let's go Big Blue.